And we can go to Anambra now. The election has inched even closer. Here we are on Wednesday. The election itself is on Friday. And I think, Thursday is going to be the very last day of campaigning?
Yeah. 48 hours
yes,
before
that's
the
the very last day that anybody can say anything about the elections in a partisan sort of way. Okay, I believe we have the SDP governorship candidate, Chief Obinna Uzor, with us. Is it Uzor or Uzor? Forgive me if I, put this stress wrong. But Chief Obinna, good morning, sir. Chief Obinna Uzor. Chief Obinna Uzor. Okay. If not, then how about Dr. Nkem? Dr. Nkem Okeke. We also we're hoping to get Dr. Nkem Okeke, Deputy Governor Anambra State. Okay. Well, Dr. Okeke, now that we got you, I have to go out on a commercial. So stay put, please. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Okay, welcome back, and also to say that I'm in the studio with Mr. Ademola Adegoke, and remotely the Deputy Governor Anambra State is with us by remote now. The Deputy Governor, Dr. Nkem Okeke of the APC. We're also hoping to be able to speak with Chief Obinna Uzor, who is the SDP governorship candidate. But we have Dr. Okeke with us. Again, good morning, Dr. Okeke.
Pardon me.
Okay. We spoke a few days ago, and a couple of days ago, and the situation was what it was. Even our correspondent up there didn't have the freedom to move around. Everybody was being extra security conscious. But then I think that was a Monday anyway. But has anything changed now in terms of the politicians being able to go about their fare just a few more days to the election, and the politicians will need to sell their pitches to the electorate? How easier has that become?
Thank you very much. Let me first of all extend my sincere condolences to the families that lost their loved ones in the building collapse, and also to the people and government of Lagos State. It's just a tragic situation, and I pray to God for may their souls rest in perfect peace. But back to your question, I think things are going on according to plan. The security agencies are doing their work, patrolling the streets. The news agencies are going about doing their business. Of course, I'm doing this from my house right now, but once I finish this, I'll probably head to the office and maybe go back to my village to do more of these consultations and all that.
Okay.
Things are going on. With the presence of the security agencies I think it's a double-edged sword. You have a situation where, excuse me, they can prevent any skirmishes, any hoodlums from preventing people from voting. But at the same time, the people, it might create a voter apathy because people might be afraid to come out seeing that much security presence in their area. But the prayer and the hope is that people will not look at them as their enemy, that they will look at the security, excuse me, the personnel as people who are there to help them exercise their civic right and be able to vote.
Okay, your party is the APC now, and your candidate. What's your assessment of the penetration? Him being able to, sell his pitch, because this must be a concern for every political party there. Yes.
Well, the distinguished Senator Andy Obai is going around doing the rounds that everybody's supposed to do. Go to the different local governments, sell your manifesto, tell your people what you're willing to do to move, the state forward. I think the problem at APC
has he been able to do that? Because there are those who are alleging that he's not heard from as much as they would have hoped as a candidate.
Well, you can always expect some criticism from, all sides. People saying that they haven't heard from him, that they haven't been able to see him or speak with him. But the message is there. The message is there, and that's also the message I'm also trying to put out there. APC is a party platform, just like every other party, in Nigeria. They are mostly associations of people. You have the good, the bad, the ugly in every party you have in Nigeria. The difference with APC is that the party at the center. And the way the system works in this country is that you need to be with the party at the center. It gives you a better access. I've attended meetings in my 7.5 years, being a deputy governor. And I find that after meetings, you'll find every other PDP governors go through the exit. I also go through the exit. But you find that the APC caucus governors go into the inner chamber and have discussions, private discussions with the president or whoever is the presidency. I think that gives you better access. And what we need to do in Anambra is not to always be in opposition. We need to be at the center. We need to be able to have access to some of the good things that come out from Abuja. We can see what's been happening with Second Niger Bridge, the progress that's going on there, the expressway road from Onitsha to Awka. These are things being brought to the state. Without Anambra being in APC, you can imagine what will happen if the state is under APC control.
Okay.
I think things will be much better.
Since you have, you've had a taste of both, so to speak, what would you say, in your personal opinion, is the major difference between APC, for instance, your party now, and the ruling party in Anambra State, APGA? Is there a philosophical, ideological, is there any difference that you note that might attract voters in Anambra?
Well, the good thing about APC is that you find governors moving to APC. You find people like me moving to APC. You find senators moving to APC. You find House of Rep members moving to APC. You find House of Assembly members moving to APC. There must be something there. The problem with my old party was that APGA had a brand, but somehow the party leadership never really tried to extend that brand and use that brand to leverage on it and maybe build on it. If I had captured all of Southeast, or maybe 3 to 4 state governments, then it begins to be able to negotiate, begins to have a voice at the center. But we haven't done that. Instead of progressing to gain more, we've lost. The party basically lost what it had. And I looked at that and I said, we're not moving forward. What's the essence of being a party that doesn't seem to be, gaining ground, instead of losing ground? And that's one of the reasons why I had to move to APC. And APC is a party at the center. The challenge, we've had in the state is that people look at APC and say it's a Fulani party. But that's not true. That's a myopic way of, thinking.
Okay.
And I ask people, what if APC come, 2023, gets a southern, president? Are we going to call them a Fulani party? What if they get a northern, president that's, different, that wants to be inclusive from their own perspective? What would they say? So we need to be thinking positive. We need to be progressive in our thought process. We need to be included in what's going on in the federation. And right now we're not.
Okay. 1 second while I cross over and speak with Chief Obinna Uzor, the governorship candidate of SDP. Good morning to you, Chief. Chief Uzor.
I appreciate.
Can you hear me, Chief Uzor?
Good morning. Good morning. Okay. Yes, I can hear you. Good morning, and yes. Good morning, the viewers.
Indeed. Thank you very much for making time for us. How have you fared, that is you and your party, in terms of being able to get your message out there to the electorate, given the security situation? Have you been able to, sell your wares, so to speak, make your pitch to the good people of Anambra State?
Thank you very much. This election is no election like any we have seen before. It's a very different kind of election. I ran for governorship election in 2003 against Mr. Peter Obi, Senator Chris Ngige. We had a good time. We campaigned around. We went around the country. It was fun. I was having good time with our people. But this time is very different. I am happy in Social Democratic Party and the people who are working with me. My deputy governorship candidate, Dr. Chira Obiora, is doing well. The Director General of my campaign, Chief Ekelem Okulora, is doing well.
I beg your pardon, Chief Uzor. Is it dangerous for politicians like yourself to go out there and try to speak to the people directly?
Yeah, that's where I'm coming to. I'm just introducing people who are working with me door to door.
Okay.
We are doing door to door, talking to our people, getting across to our people. We try not to endanger lives, gathering crowds, showing up, telling you that somebody defected, didn't defect. Well, most of those defecting from A to B to C are going to vote for Social Democratic Party.
Okay.
So for us, it's not a situation of flamboyance, taking into consideration the security situation in the country. So for us, it's not dangerous. We are applying a safe mode for our party members, for the electors, for the voters. Remember that majority of the voters are not card-carrying members of any political parties. So our catchment are the voters. And I can bet you those defecting from A to C to Z to SDP, to us, they are calm. They are waiting on the 6th of November to do the needful, which is to vote for Social Democratic Party,
okay,
the White Horse.
Chief Uzor, let me ask you this. Arguably, the people of Anambra, they know APGA. They know what they stand for and all of that. So I'd like to ask you, what is it that the SDP in Anambra stands for that would attract the voters over there? Well, what's the ideological, if there is such a difference, or political, what's the difference? Because what you are saying now is that your party is the best deal for Anambra. So in what way is it different from the other parties?
Yeah, the party is different. This Social Democratic Party was in Anambra during Chief Chukwuemeka Zife was governor of Anambra State under the Social Democratic Party. So it is known to Anambra people, SDP, the White Horse, is a known name, a known symbol in Anambra State. We are preaching progress. To talk about progress, you have to guarantee security, you have to secure your people, you have to provide the necessary infrastructures, you have to touch the people. For instance, the flag bearer of SDP in Anambra, because most of the time people talk about personalities. Dr. Obinna Uzor is a lawyer, is an entrepreneur, is a farmer, is a philanthropist, is a politician, is many things into one. Philanthropy is in my DNA, and Anambra people know me for that. I am a lawyer of repute, a senior lawyer at that, and I have a lot of followership. I've done a lot of things for my people, both building houses, electrification, building of roads, construction of churches, a lot of things for my people, so, enabling a lot of youths to achieve their talents in various fields. So we've done a lot for my people, and that is what is going for me, for my party, the Social Democratic Party of Nigeria. Okay,
excellent. But I just wanted to see if it was possible to distinguish between you and the party, much as those admirable qualities you have just stated, those are yours. That's what you personally, individually are known for. But the SDP as a party, I wonder if there's a philosophy that you brought all those qualities to key into does the SDP in Anambra have a philosophy, or should I take it, as you might have indicated, that look, it's about development? I don't know, what would you say was the philosophy that you will be selling to Anambra, and that Anambra will bear in mind and might decide that, you know what, I think I'm going to give the SDP my vote? Is there such an ideological line?
The ideology is about progress, it's about prosperity.
Okay.
It's about unity. If you come to my party, you can see and perceive development, progress, unity, and security. And that's about what Anambra needs, particularly at this time. You can see SDP security, development, prosperity.
Okay.
Progression.
Let me ask you this question then, sir. What are your different ideas about security that if you and your party were to win, you would bring to bear, different from what has happened in the past? Because quite frankly, we, and by we, are not just talking about Anambrarians, Nigerians have not got joy out of the situation yet in the southeast generally. So what would the SDP under your watch as a governor, what would they do differently? What has been left? What has been left unexplored by the other parties that you would bring to bear?
Well, in governance, everybody puts in his best. They could have put in their best. Their best is not enough for my state. Anambra is the hub of Igbo land. And if we get it right in Anambra, we get it right in the southeast. In security, you need to provide the necessary equipment and gadgets to help the security agencies, the police, the army, the air force, the navy, and then you need to cooperate and work collaboratively with the traditional rulers, the president generals of town unions, the vigilantes in Anambra State, provide the enabling environment, the necessary equipment, the training required by these people to ensure that security is in our state.
Okay.
As much as possible, you get in touch with the stakeholders and dialogue with all the necessary parties to ensure security, because without security, you can't achieve unity, you cannot achieve development, prosperity.
You talked about, was it you or was it the other gentleman, talked about the ruling party nationally. At least you can see some of the efforts that they brought to bear, bringing extra security. Some are even saying that, are we not being overwhelmed here? But we saw an example earlier, I think it was over the last weekend, where, thank God for that show of security, they were able to repel what looked like some people that were bent on causing trouble. So I guess what I'm asking is, are you are happy as a PDP member and the candidate of PDP with the security that has been put on the ground, or do you have reservations? Do you have comments?
Thank you. My party is Social Democratic Party, SDP.
Did I say PDP? I meant SDP. Sorry, that was a slip of tongue. Definitely S and D and P, Social Democratic Party. Are you happy with the security lie of the ground?
Thank you. If you watch from beginning, I'm somebody who is very straightforward and consistent in everything I do and say. I said when I ran in 2003, I was happy, having a good time with my people, talking to my people. But with what's happening now, it's tough. So we adopted the door-to-door. It will be difficult to say that the whole security apparatus in the country is in my state and I'm happy. Anambra is a unique state. It's very special to all of us. It's very dear to all of us. Everything good in Nigeria globally is from Anambra State. So for me, I couldn't have loved a situation where you have this number of security agencies. But then, considering what has become, particularly in the Southeast, particularly in Anambra, in the last months of this period, it will be tough for government not to take a decision they've taken. So for me, you know, that is what it is. So we make do with it. In everything you are doing, if you see anything, you try to adjust and make progress.
Okay. Tell you what now, Chief Uzor. We've got to take a break now. Stay with us, please. And same with you, Dr. Nkem Okeke. Stay with us while we take this break. We'll be right back, and we'll include your calls at that time. Okay, welcome back. And, you know, I started off saying that we'd like to touch base with the 21-story building that collapsed in Gerard Road in Ikoyi, Lagos, southwest of the country, where we're broadcasting from. But, you know, the technical, you know, things have been such that we've not been able to make a clean enough contact. So we're looking at the Anambra situation, and we have remotely, you know, we have Dr. Nkem Okeke, who is the Deputy Governor of Anambra State, and he's from ADP. It's his new party. In recent times, he moved to ACP, and he has told us why he moved to ACP. APC. What am I mixing up with these letters this morning? And Chief Obinna Uzor, I think, Chief Obinna Uzor, SDP governorship candidate, has been telling us about development. You know, between the parties, between you and I, you know, we often hear commentators say there's very little to choose between the party. Is that your understanding as well? Or but if you look for it, can you see differences? Or do the people really consider ideologies when they make the decision of who to vote for?
I am worried about the kind of democracy and political parties that we have now. Coming from the background of what political parties of yesteryears used to be like, you could easily distinguish between NPN and UPN, or GMPP or MPP of those days. Even the SDP that Chief Uzor now says is his party, you could distinguish between, you know, the ideology of SDP and NRC. Now, ask the man on the street. No, ask him what, you know, what is the ideology that drives APC? What is the ideology that, you know, drives PDP? No one knows. In those days, you will know that at least in all UPN states, you will have free education, free, you know, the four cardinal points then, if you could still recollect. In the NPN, you know, they will talk of, you know, housing and all that. So you will see, and once, you know, you get to one NPN state, you know, you will see a reflection of the manifesto and ideology of the party in that. And what you see in state A, ruled by the NPN, is what you see, you know, largely in state B, state, you know, ruled by. But now, you know, all is, you know, left to the. But
arguably, Lagos, which is an APC state, is like that. Arguably.
What I'm saying is that Lagos, you know, even Lagos, will you say Lagos is, you know, having that semblance of performance, so to speak, because it is APC state, or because maybe a template, you understand, has been, you know, successfully.
It was an APC template. You know, they published a roadmap. So I was trying to say if
it is an APC template, then you expect that when you get to Ekiti, you see it. Okay. When you get to even nearby Ogun, it will be replicated.
But you don't think that is the case?
I don't think that is the case. I don't think so. So maybe I don't know whether you get my point.
I do. Let me pick it up with Dr. Nkem Okeke. Again, back to you, Deputy Governor. You heard the comments that my guest was making, and over in Anambra, would you think it's different then? Do you think it's different? Can people really tell the difference between what the APC philosophy is as opposed to SDP, as opposed to APGA?
I really don't think so. I kind of agree with what he's saying. Let me tell you the problem. There seems to be a disconnect between the political leadership and the masses. there hasn't been any purposeful leadership in the country, and people are yearning for that. And that's what's happening in the Southeast, where IPOB, got into the narrative, and people began to listen to them because there was a vacuum created because of the poor leadership situation, and people are yearning for what's better. I'm not sure people are really interested in the issue of ideologies. They just want to see good, purposeful leadership. What are we doing to move people from one stage of life to the next? What are we doing to allow families to be able to work, earn a living, feed their families, send their children to school, provide good quality healthcare, for their family? That is it. What else? That's what life should be all about. So we need to start thinking, what do we need to do to put the right people in the office and for people to know they are there to serve the people? You're not there to enrich yourself, to make yourself wealthy, or to make your family wealthy. No, you're there as a servant to the people.
Dr. Okeke, this might be one of the issues.
Yes.
Whereas that excellent sentiment you've just expressed, that politics is about seeking the electorate's vote and mandate to go there and be of service, not for yourself. But I don't know that any ordinary person believes that ideal resides with our politicians anymore. Whether it even did so in the past, I don't know.
That's the problem.
Because they see that it's a personal project as opposed to going to be a servant leader or whatever you want to call it.
Correct. And that's what's been happening. What I'm saying is that we all know what's good. If a leader comes out and says and talks the talk and walks the walk, people would see that. I mean, we have an Igbo proverb that says you can't cover pregnancy. Once a woman is pregnant, after a while she begins to show. Same thing with good leadership. If you begin to do things the way it's supposed to be done, people will notice. People see the way you walk. I mean, as a leader, you're supposed to be above board. You're supposed to do things that people will see and emulate. You're supposed to go to work on time, go to your office, put in projects that will serve the masses, not legacy project for your own name. Put in projects that people will talk about and be able to say, yes, this is what we need. Let me give you an example of what I'm saying. What do we need in Anambra? Anambra, we have good land for agriculture. Why don't we focus on agriculture? Do the value chain in agriculture. Do the grow the crops, process the crops, package the crops, sell them domestically or even export. Why can't we do that? Go to Newi. Newi is a manufacturing hub. Small scale, a lot of small scale business. Why don't we provide constant power, sustainable power? Create that environment for them to flourish. Go to Onitsha, which is a commercial hub of West Africa. Why don't we make it better? Why don't we expand it? Onitsha is so clustered now. Why can't we move that market to a better place so that people will be free to be able to go to the market and leave the market without being in a congested situation. So there are things that a leader needs to do to make life better for people.
Okay.
Create access, create good roads, create quality healthcare, and create good education for our masses. That's what leadership should be about.
How much? How much stock, Dr. Okeke? I beg your pardon for interrupting you. How much stock do you think the people of Anambra are going to put on issues like experience in public service, vis-a-vis your candidate and all the other candidates? Do those kind of things? Does that kind of thing, resonate well with the people of Anambra? If a party,
it can't resonate because people haven't seen that. We put people with education, they haven't done well. We put people that don't have much education, they haven't done well. So leadership is not about the degrees you have. Really, it isn't. It's what's in your heart.
But how about experience?
What is your purpose to be?
How about experience in public life?
It's not experience. Hold on. Let me tell you what I look at experience. Let me go to the United States, for instance. One of the best presidents of the United States was Ronald Reagan, who was just an actor. Yes, he probably had a university degree, but he's just an actor. What he did was surround himself with the right people, and he listened to them. That's what a good leader does. You can't know it all. Yes, It's good to have some experience because you're able to know what people, are trying to propose to you, to do. But what matters is who are your advisors? who is your chief of staff? Is this somebody you respect, somebody you listen to when they give you quality advice? That's what makes a good leader.
Okay, one moment,
it's
please.
Not about degrees.
One moment, please, Dr. Okeke. Yes. I've got to bring in a caller. Somebody watching us in, Mr. Joshua, watching us in Irewole. Good morning, sir. What's your observation or comment?
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you, sir?
Very well, thank you.
And I greet all your guests.
Indeed.
My first question is almost a curiosity of yours. Why is that that deputy governor, I think is the president of deputy governor of Anambra?
He is?
Yes, yes.
He is.
Why is it so contesting? Is the deputy governor for 8 years, I suppose, or this for 4 years? Why is he not contesting? That man seems so sound. So you see, the leadership is about the people's choice. Now we are having problem in Nigeria where people who are good enough to govern will offer themselves and they will be rejected by the people because they don't have enough money or all that. Why is that man not the governor? Why is he not contesting?
Okay.
So that the people will start taking responsibility for the fact that if leadership fails, they should not complain because they are the ones voting the people that are leading them.
Okay.
That's my point.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Joshua. But you did say it was a point of curiosity because you see, I didn't want us to lose focus. The election is just in 2-3 days' time, and the candidate of APC is the candidate of APC. That is Senator Anduba. So if you indulge us, I didn't want us to go into that simply so as not to derail from the set piece that we already have. INEC and the people of Anambra know who the candidate of APC is. They know who the candidate of PDP is. They know who the candidate of APGA is and SDP. So maybe that's a conversation for another day, if you'll indulge us, Mr. Joshua. But I don't know if you personally had any comment, Dr. Okeke.
Well, the way the structures go, the election process goes, people like me may not have the opportunity to actually want to run because you may not get that opportunity. It's not, the system isn't quite, properly set for people like me to come out and want to vie to be governor. The amount of money that's required, I don't have it. And I'm not going to steal, and I'm not going to make promises to people that will give me money to run for election and then be having to reach into the state, coffers to pay them back. No, we must be able to reform the system the way it's structured currently, so that people who are sincere inside, people who want to really do what is right, will have the opportunity to come out. That's it. I can't. I'm an accidental politician. I never wanted to be the deputy governor. I was just asked, to come and be the deputy gubernatorial candidate, and I came. Second term, the governor asked me. I didn't ask him, never went to him and said, please, I want to join you for the second term. He called. In fact, he mentioned it the day he was announcing his rerun and said that I was following him. And I said, why not? I'm here to serve. I'm here to work. I'm here to leave a legacy. And legacy is in human beings. What will people say about me when I leave office? What will people say about you when you leave office? That's the key. That is what matters. If you touch lives, people react positively. If you don't, people react negatively. I give an example. I was at the University of Nambia Election as a senior lecturer. When I left, to join this, I know when I went back there, how I was received. It's quite simple what we do in life. I come from a family of well-educated family. My father believes in education. That's what we need to give our children. If you give them that, allow them to go and fend for themselves.
Okay.
What's happening is that the leadership process is not quite right yet. The right people are not coming out because they are afraid, they can't fund it, they can't be allowed access into the system. So they just, wallow. And they say if the right people don't come out, the wrong people will continue to lead. And if the wrong people continue to lead, we'll continue to be in a vicious cycle and nothing gets done.
Okay. Let me take this point to Dr. to Chief Obinna Uzor. Okay, we're having this technical issue. Interesting point that he's making there. Well, the deputy governor himself went into some of the reasons. I think that might satisfy Mr. Joshua, because Mr. Joshua himself had even, conjecture that, is it about money? If I'd had Chief Uzor, I would have wanted him to react to that whole point about the quality of people that come out. And it's not just in Anambra, it's up and down the land. People often say that the best people don't necessarily come out. I don't know,
yes.
Or get the ticket.
Yes, the deputy governor just said it. He talked about money. If you, maybe our own democracy
sorry, I beg your
must
pardon.
be, okay.
Forgive me for interrupting you. Okay. Mr. George in Ikeja called in. Good morning, Mr. George.
Good morning, Uncle Yori, and greetings to your guest.
Indeed, thank you.
Uncle Yori, first, I want to sympathize with Lagos State government. The problem we have in this country is people like to walk around laws for personal purposes. If the building regulation authority comes to the building, we do everything possible to make sure we circumvent the laws and have our way. But when calamities like this come, we turn around to blame the same government. So the problem is not really with that of the regulator, but that of the people. The people of Kuyori that I know who build houses inside Dodge. The day heavy flood will come and sweep the houses away and people die, will blame it severally. So one of them told me that, don't worry, I will get my plan approved. I know people in the bidding organization. They have told him to pull the structure down severally. He refused. So this is the people. It's sad, but that's who we are. I'm so sorry to say that.
Unfortunately.
Coming to the Anambra election, Uncle Yori, the truth of the matter is that in this part of the world, you can't actually be talking about party ideology. Every party is aiming to improve infrastructure. What the people need for now are roads, schools, hospitals, and it is countries that already have all those things in place that talk about approaches to the management of these things, and that is what they call ideology. We can't be really talking about ideology here when we have not even gotten to 30% growth in those infrastructure growth facilities.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for your contribution, Mr. George. What do you think of that?
Oh, I want to differ.
This whole question of ideology.
You see, because me too.
I want
the mind, whatever that is going to.
Did I hear one of our remote guest's voice?
Yes, me. I also want to differ with him. I wanted to make a comment on that. I hope you don't mind. Can I?
Please, go ahead. Because of your connection.
Yes. I heard what he said about all we need now is just roads, hospitals, and schools. No, that's not correct. I do agree that we need those items, and in developed societies, the public works handles those, or the Ministry of Health, does those. But the point I'm saying is that you must think outside the box. You must think of what is it that your state needs to move forward. You need to grow your IGR. You can't always hope that you need to go to Abuja to raise money. Let me give an example in Anambra. Why can't we do industrial parks? We have the ingenuity in our state. We have the people, the skilled people who have the thinking caps. All we need to do is create an enabling environment. We must think outside the box, be able to, increase our IGR. Look at Lagos State. Look at what they're doing with their IGR. Are they interested in what's going on in Abuja? They are not. Of course, we may not be able to achieve what Lagos State is doing, but we can do better in Anambra. We can do better.
Okay.
There's so many loopholes that we need to plug. We need to get into technology and be able to collect, levies, taxes, or whatever. Okay,
Doctor. So you differ on the point of we can't be talking about the ideology now. I think we still don't have Chief Uzor with us. I would have liked him to also react to it. But I interrupted you.
Perhaps the last caller doesn't really have a good understanding of what ideology is. You see, because everywhere, theory drives practice. And if you are not well theoretically grounded, whatever you're going to practice, it will be faulty. So you cannot say, no, we don't need ideology. I was talking about, the UPN of those days, that, what you see. That's why, people talk of how, Jakande last ruled.
Else, they had the free education.
Jakande last ruled,
yes.
Maybe about 37, 38 years ago. But see the landmarks.
Yes.
They are still there. And those landmarks were, a product of an ideology.
That's right.
Housing for all, free education, and that's why so many schools sprang up, and they are still because there was an ideology in place.
Arguably, no other party has been able to make as bold an ideological statement.
So if a man wakes up and says no, we should just be building road and all that, that means there will be no roadmap to follow. We just do things as it catches our whims and caprices. And no one does that.
Okay, around this time is I think because we're enjoying ourselves too much, and time usually is running. Because Chief Uzor, we lost you for a while. We lost you for a while, but I understand you're back up again, and so maybe let me just quickly put to you. Somebody said we don't really need ideological stances in our parties now. Your colleague on the program, the deputy governor, has disagreed with that point of view. What would be your take? I wanted to ask you too. Do you think that we really shouldn't be bothering about ideological biases at the moment?
Sorry for the break in transmission. I was enjoying your studio before this came up. Thank you for my getting back. I think as it is now, the commentator got what he said when he said that virtually all the parties are on same, because all of us are on same ideological line. We come on board, we are offering free education, but then so many things everybody wants to do, all the parties' manifestos are almost same, and the ideological stance.
Okay, Chief Uzor, I really apologize to you. Unfortunately, we lost some precious airtime when you were down, and we've run out of time now completely. But I still want to thank you very much for doing your best to, engage with us this morning, and the people of Anambra, and indeed the people of Nigeria, indeed diaspora too. Well, everybody's watching Anambra, and everybody is watching you. Thank you very much for your time. And let me say the same to you, Deputy Governor, Dr. Nkem Okeke. Thank you very much for making the time for us this morning. We've run out of time, but we appreciate your coming on. Indeed. And, well, you know the drill, Ademola. I'm so sorry. But thank you very, very much, as always, for your commentary and for coming on the program. Okay, so that's our program. Sorry that we couldn't bring you our Bimbo Agbebi at the 21-story collapse site. But then TVC News, as the day progresses, will be making sure that you don't miss any significant aspect of that particular coverage. I'm Yori Folarin. Bye-bye for now.